Hello, welcome. This is West of Everest. I am Lee Benson. He is Grant Benson, and we've got a big one this Saturday in Tuscaloosa. OU and Alabama for the Sooners. It's effectively another playoff game. I already saw one against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. For Alabama, well, the Tide is a little bit more margin for error with that 8-1 record. And for those of you convinced that Oklahoma would have a shot at the playoff at 9-3, we may or may not address that here shortly, depending on how much we want to talk about it. But also, we will talk about 3-word reviews from the Tennessee game because we missed out on that and then took a week off to recharge our batteries. So that's coming up on the show, plus our giant OU Alabama preview. So we'll not waste any more time. We'll say hello to Grant. What is going on? Hope you enjoyed the bye week.
I did enjoy the bye week. It was nice to have a Saturday for the first time in a month or so where I didn't have anything going on. So it was nice just to be able to watch college football. Although I do gotta, and this isn't part of the rundown, but I'm gonna have to, and we haven't discussed it at all on this thing, but the continued sort of fight with YouTube TV and Disney over the ESPN channels is genuinely dreadful. I mean, it is, and so I did the 1-day pass for Sling on Saturday, and Sling is just awful. It's just, there's a reason why no one uses Sling. It's just really terrible service. And so I'm just sort of preemptively already annoyed that I'm going to have to do that again on Saturday and actually to watch a game that I really care about, which sucks. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Like I am just very, very aggravated by that whole thing. It's very, very stupid. And no ESPN, I am not going to subscribe to your all access thing because that's exactly what you want me to do. I'm not going to do it. I'm also holding out.
I share your thoughts real quick. Technically, and go do this. Go when you have a time. Go buy a digital antenna. I did. So you can watch you get ABC.
I should do
so
that. I should.
It's
do that.
One. It's dumb that these smart TVs don't just have one like inside the television these days. But alas, it's $10, whatever, $12. Go over to your. So I did that. So you can do that for the OU game because it's on ABC. I did the Sling thing as well. And yeah, we didn't even plan this. I agree. It was, you get what you pay for. It was like $5. So you know what? I appreciated that part of it. I did not appreciate the slow app. It was so awful and slow and just terrible. I also did not appreciate how you could only do one stream. So I could only just watch one of it. And then I had to pay another 89 cents or something to get like SEC Network and ACC Network because I wanted to watch the Vanderbilt-Auburn game. And so I did that. So, and surely everyone else that has YouTube TV is running into the same issue that we are. And I've been actually gaming it out. I think what I'm going to do starting this week probably is I'm going to probably, and I do a little bit more research, but I think I'm going to probably do the direct TV thing. Because you get 5 days for free, so we can get this weekend for free, and DirecTV does all. It gives you all of the ESPN stuff, and you can do multiple streams. Basically, from what I can tell, it's the same thing as YouTube TV. I don't know if they do the multi-view. I think maybe you do if you want to use that. So my plan is, as of now, because I'm with you. The YouTube TV, I'm not going to get ESPN's app. Not doing that because I'm not going to cave. Like that's what they want you to do, and I love the YouTube TV and all the games. So. You get this upcoming weekend for free, and then you pay it's like a one, like the first month is like $45. It's like, you know what? I'm willing to pay $45 for essentially it takes you to the end of conference championship weekend. You get through all the conference champion, like the full ESPN. And then at that point, you hope that maybe YouTube TV's figured it out. Maybe it's back on, you buy yourself for $45 or whatever, you buy yourself a month. And then if they don't come back and the playoffs are starting like crap, then you either, if you love the DirecTV, then you bite the bullet and you pay the whatever $90 it's going to be because they're going to charge you double for the next month. Or you go with a different route. You go, I don't want to do Fubo because Fubo is owned by Disney and it's the same thing as ESPN. So maybe you bite the bullet and you do the stupid Sling and you figure out a Sling package that, because you can, anyways. I've been thinking about this. I think I'm going to do the DirecTV, and if the math works out, you get the free weekend, and it takes you through the conference championship weekends, hoping that in the next month, ESPN, Disney, and YouTube TV figure it out.
And they got to figure it out, right? Like this is untenable for both parties if it continues. And I think these are two massive corporations, they can both afford it. But also it's just it's tough because YouTube TV is genuinely a great product. It's a
terrific
great product. It's the multi-view, the DVR is awesome. It's so great. It used to be kind of my big complaint with it. Used to be like, oh well, everything's on a delay now. But I now know even with cable, it's the same. All cable is on a big delay now too, because it's all through internet anyway. So,
yep.
So that doesn't even matter anymore. And so they need to figure this out. And I'm whatever. If YouTube TV's got to raise their price to do it, then whatever. Please bang out some sort of compromise. I think I would guess like a massive part of their subscriber base is there just to watch sports. That's really the only reason to have live TV these days, is to watch sports and to watch news if you're a person like that. And so both corporations are kind of taking it on the chin right now. I happen to think that it's probably more on Disney's end. They're probably playing hardball much more than YouTube TV is. But it's just they figure this out. This is bad for the consumer. It's bad for the country. I know that sounds stupid, but it's just bad in general. So I just had to say that, like, and I'm sure a lot of people have YouTube TV, so everybody's kind of feeling the pain. But I see you, I hear you. It's hard, I know, and I don't think we should be subjected to cruel and unusual punishment that is Sling TV. Good God, is just awful.
I don't want to have to buy the full Sling TV, because Sling TV does offer packages where they give you more channels and they do multiple streams and stuff. But I don't want to get to that point. I want, hopefully, the DirecTV, hopefully by the time we get to this weekend, they figured it out. That'd be great.
Maybe.
I tend to doubt it, because YouTube TV is now offering the $20 credit. So make sure you go and you actually accept the credit. I don't know why they don't just give it to you, but whatever. And last thing, you're exactly right. The key to that, and I get bothered by these people that are like, man, it's just so complicated now. Like, all these streaming services, can we just go back to having cable? It's like, no, it's not that complicated right now, guys. It's actually pretty simple. And the thing is, YouTube TV, their product, is so much better than anything cable ever offered. And so all the competition and everything, we got to this point, and YouTube TV is still cheaper than cable. I mean, I made the switch a couple of years ago. It was significantly cheaper than cable. It's definitely gotten a little bit more expensive than it was, but it's still cheaper than cable. And so I'm with you. Even if they ended up raising the price a little bit and it got closer to what cable costs, the product is still so much better than what cable used to be. So you're getting more for it. And honestly, with a lot of the way you can cancel things whenever seasons end, if this was happening in February, who cares? Who cares? Like, I don't need to watch the NBA on ESPN all the time. I don't care. I don't care about, I guess, maybe college basketball, but not even until March do I really care about that. So, anyway, yeah. Figure it out. But in the meantime, I do think the DirecTV option could be a good little bridge until the end of the college football season for everybody.
I'll need to look into that, because this is just unacceptable. Although there is a football game for us to talk about this week. But before that, I suppose we're going to talk about other things. Lee, you're driving the bus today, man. I don't know where I've been, but I've been totally out of it. So you're driving the bus today.
Back to my old post. This feels weird.
Just for one week.
Not really.
Just for 1 week. Don't get,
No, it's fine. I actually a little bit of preview. This is the most opponent film I've watched all season long. I watched almost all of Alabama's games. All the important ones. Unfortunately, ran out of time. Didn't get to watch their most recent games from the beginning to the end. But I watched a lot of their early season games from the beginning to the end and have a lot of thoughts on Alabama. But before we get there, I did want to just throw a bone to our listeners, because we did not do 3-word reviews following the Tennessee game. I asked for 3-word reviews on the West of Evers Facebook page. And so even though this is a couple weeks old, just want to give you guys some shout outs. And some of these are, Oklahoma won the game is great. So a lot of these are positive, but some of these are a little negative and kind of funny. So, but we'll start with longtime listener David. David says turnovers are nice. And yeah, I mean, it was good to get turnovers in that game. I mean, 3 in the first half, nothing in the second half, but that was great. Philip says, here comes Oklahoma. Philip is always very positive. So we'll see. We'll see if Oklahoma continues it against Alabama. Here we go to the negatives. Andy says, Arbuckle offense sucks. Now, Andy, of all the games to do that, that was actually one of the first half was not good. But after halftime, the offense did some good things. So at least there's other games that you could have definitely said.
I thought in the second half,
sucks.
I think the nicest thing you can say about the offense in the second half is that they controlled the pace of the game, and they totally. So, I think one of the big mismatches in the first half, like in the box score, was in time of possession. Whatever the cliche is, that can be misleading. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And I thought it was very impressive how OU was able to just totally flip the script. Tennessee dominated time possession in the first half. OU was able to do it in the second half. And it felt like it. It felt like OU controlled the game in the second half. And so, and I think a lot of that had to do with the offense's pacing, their ability to stay on the field on third down and whatnot. And so, OU's offense is what it is. It's not great. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Probably going to struggle to move it against the 5 or 6 best defenses in college football. But other than that, I think they can move it on pretty much everybody.
Yeah, their offense is fine. It's solid. And we've kind of hit on it a lot. Other podcasts have too. It's not as good as we'd like it to be, but it has a high ceiling. Because Mateer is a good player, and he can take it to another level. We've seen it. I think Arbuckle's a pretty smart guy, so it can be better. And the best teams in football, whether it's college, NFL, hit their stride late in the year, going into the most important time of the year, and maybe Oklahoma can be a team like that on offense.
I saw Bill Connolly wrote an article earlier this week about he was going over the fatal flaws of all of the teams that are still alive in the playoff or whatever. And he described OU's offense as more gritty than good. And I was like, that's actually I think that's a pretty fair assessment of their offense. They've really only been bad in one game this season, as against the best defense they faced this season in Dallas.
All right, more 3-word reviews. And this is like a comment, and Philip is back. And this is actually coming from our last episode, because I have a Spotify comment too I want to read. But Philip says, everybody calm down. The defense is elite and will only get better under Brent Venables. Arbuckle, Mateer, and offensive line recruits will catch up. And they're building a dynasty. And then Andy, who had the Arbuckle offense sucks comment, said that Aguilar threw for almost 400. That's not elite. And then on our Spotify comments, thanks to Alex left a comment because on the last episode, you and I were talking about the defense, and you and I agree that it's not an elite defense. It's a very, very good defense, but given that they can be thrown on and be had by the way they are, that's not elite. And so Alex said that relative to the rest of the country, Oklahoma's defense is elite. It's not 2021 Georgia, but it's 4th in SP+. That's elite in college football in 2025. And that's not a bad argument. I think that he backs up. Top 4 in SP+ defense typically means that you're
third now after last week. After they won the bye, they're third now.
So I will say there's definitely an argument to be had. You want to argue that they're an elite defense. I think you have some good points to make. And we're splitting hairs here. It's just and Oklahoma's pass defense raw stats is actually pretty good. It's just eyeball tests when they face these. The last 2 games they played, they faced teams that can't throw it, and these teams are getting yards through the air. And a little bit of a preview of what's to come. I think Alabama's passing offense is the best of these 3. You disagree?
That's where I vehemently disagree. And I actually, going back and rewatching, and I was finally able to rewatch the Tennessee game because finally someone put the full game up on YouTube because, YouTube TV, can't go back and rewatch it. I didn't think, I thought the defense, especially after Tennessee missed that field goal in the first half, I think that would have been 13 points for them. But from that point on, other than the long kind of catch and run that they had on their first possession of the third quarter to make it 17-16, I thought OU's defense was like nails in that game. Other
than that, and then other than the touchdown drive after the stupid interception that OU threw.
Sure. But, and like on that though, it's like, and it all counts, like that happened and everything. But I think you can definitely argue there that Oklahoma we're playing some form of like, keep everything in front of us. If Tennessee wants to complete a 7-yard pass, then so be it. And so if OU just kind of does what they're supposed to do and they are not stupid and they don't throw on that, does Tennessee does Tennessee get the ball back down by 12 points with like 90 seconds to go and they only have 17 points? And I think Tennessee's offense is like a lot better than Alabama's, but this is where you and I will diverge. But
yeah, I don't think so. I think the reason why Tennessee's offense is not a lot better than Alabama's is because it's a lot more predictable than Alabama's and their passing concepts. Alabama, like in the passing game,
can only beat you one way. Alabama's
the thing is that's how good their passing offense is. They don't have much of a run game, and they still throw it around the yard so well because they're so good at it.
Yeah, their passing offense like throwing for like 250 yards a game, just quaking in my boots. It's a good passing offense. It's not like great. It's not a great passing offense by any stretch of the imagination.
All right, we'll talk about that later. More 3-word reviews from the West of Everest Facebook page. Brett says Robinson is RB1. That has 100% been clinched. Torrey Blaylock had his moment in the sun, but Xavier Robinson surely has just that little extra gear and a lot more potential right now than Blaylock. Hopefully Blaylock is not injured. I mean, they need Blaylock to be a good, steady number 2 guy here and there, but Xavier Robinson is the guy from here on out.
Yeah, everyone's going to be just floored, going to be shocked when Jade Knott goes for like 150 and 3 tutties on Saturday.
Yeah, we've all had this. I was going back and listening to some old pre-season stuff on Jade Knott just because for fun, because everybody loved Jade Knott and I was not that into him. And man, you would have thought he was like Adrian Peterson, man, the way you were talking about. Nah. Maybe it just shows that out on the West Coast, football's a little different. Just maybe not as good because he is not a thing. Okay, more 3-word reviews. Shelly says, "What a win!" And Shelly also gives a lot of credit to Tate Sandell, which good. Tim brings us back down to earth. Tim's a longtime listener. Tim says, "Coaching still atrocious." There's so much left to be desired, man, with the coaching. And I know we'll talk about it a little bit. We maybe not. I mean, Venables and Arbuckle were asked again about the whole interception and during their weekly press conferences. Both of them, as you would imagine, were just like, yeah, it's just got to be better. Arbuckle took full responsibility. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Mankey says, absolutely expletive, shocking. Harry says, Tate, automatic, Sandell. Another longtime listener, Shane, says, no kicker problems, Jekyll and Hyde. Shane says, every time I think this is the beginning of the end for Vinny, they pull off a good win. All right. Hunter says, what a game. Michael says, lean on X. I like that one. Harry, another one says, short pants rock. And then we'll end with some negativity. Barry says, another Mateer interception. I thought our friend Brady Trantham made a good observation in his through the keyhole in his column this week, just pointing out just the lack of any sort of eye-popping passing numbers for John Mateer. What was it? 8 touchdowns, 7 picks. I mean, that is so bad. That is terrible. And yet Brady said, he's like, yeah, I still feel pretty confident about him. It's like, yeah, so do I.
I do too.
It's so weird.
Because he's pretty good. He's a pretty good player. He is, and I'll say, he has not been as good this season as I anticipated him being. But I still think, we talked about this like a month or so ago about how, if we could just get average quarterback play or whatever. And I made the point, I was like, no, this is what above average college football quarterback play looks like. Like, that's how bad average quarterback play is in college football. And, Mateer is not, he's not great, but there's still something about him that I still think he's got a lot more ability in him than he's shown. And I have confidence in him. I don't have the same confidence in him that I did in, past like Heisman Trophy winners or even as much confidence as I had in freshman year Spencer Rattler. But I don't know, there's something about him that I think he gives you a chance to win virtually every single game he's going to start. And I'd just prefer to forget about the Texas game, in which he was dreadful.
Yeah, and just to be consistent, got to self-scout myself here, and if there's any, this is what really makes me sad about John Mateer and really Oklahoma football in 2025. If I was an outside guy, I didn't, maybe let's say if I was a big Penn State guy, let's say I had a Penn State podcast. You know how much I hate Penn State, hate their style, hate everything about them. 2025 Oklahoma, are they like kind of like Penn State?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They sure are.
Like, is this what, like, is this basically like Trace McSorley from like 2020, 2018 and stuff? And like, I just didn't think he was very good at all. And yet he did things.
Those offenses were a lot better than this OU offense. But
they really weren't though. They really weren't.
Yeah, they were. Come on.
Playing bad schedule.
Saquon Barkley. It's Saquon Barkley and Chris Godwin. And come on.
Well, yeah, they had Saquon Barkley.
One of the things that I'll say that I was totally wrong of is like I think as of right now, you can make a pretty compelling argument that John Mateer had better skill players last year at Washington State than he does this year at OU. I mean, definitely his wide receiver 1 for sure with Kyle Williams. It was better than anything that OU has this year. That's the one thing that is kind of, and we'll get to that when we talk about the offseason.
I don't think that's true. I think you put these Oklahoma skill players in that schedule last year, and
Sean Parker's having a good season for Utah.
I bet he is because he's a good player.
He is, yeah.
Although it is still wild that help me, the Tulane running back from last year is just like kind of an afterthought.
Mekhi Hughes, yeah, he's same bit. He's him and Jade Knott. They're probably hanging out on the weekends when they should be on the sideline playing football.
Yeah. All right. So thanks to all of you who left 3-word reviews on the West of Everest Facebook page following the OU win over Tennessee. I'm not sure how much you want to talk about this because you and I are on the same page with the college football playoff rankings, and it's just they're happening. People talk about it. By now, everyone knows. Everyone's seen the bracket. They know Oklahoma's at 11, and yet the whole thing where if they do the projected bracket, if that happened right now, Oklahoma would not be in. Okay, fine. You and I have been steadfast and like, who cares? Oklahoma just wins out, they're in. Which is true. Like they win on Saturday and they go 10-2. Yeah, they're going to be in. So Oklahoma controls its own destiny. There's no doubt about it. Now it depends on how much you want to get into the weeds. Now, like, do you want to talk about if they lose Alabama, but then they beat Missouri and LSU and they're 9-3, then can they still get in? And it's like, it's not even worth going in, like, unless you want to do an entire show on the police board of like yarn and all this stuff.
No, I mean it doesn't have to be.
It's a waste of time.
It doesn't have to be super complicated. If you want to make it, OU should just win out so they don't have to worry about it. But if you actually wanted me to talk about it seriously, can OU get in at 9-3? Yes, I think they can. They cannot they cannot unless they have to win this game. They have to be 9-3 with a win in Tuscaloosa. They cannot be 9-3 with wins just against Missouri and LSU. That will not. They will not get in that regard.
I mean, most likely not. I mean, what you would have to happen, I mean, would be like 2007 like chaos. I mean, you'd have to. I mean, Texas has to lose to Georgia and A&M, which is very doable.
Which they will be underdogs in both of those games.
But then you got Vanderbilt sneaking out there who could still go 9-3, who would maybe have a better resume than Oklahoma. It's just, and then you have all the other teams and other conferences that can go 10-2 or 11-1.
But that's not really a. So I think it's already been established. Like right now, if you really want to game it out, OU is ahead of BYU right now. So BYU, go look at their schedule. They're not going to be. Nothing they do is really going to move the needle. So I think I think OU. But that's why I say with a win at Alabama, a 9-3 OU can get in. I don't think they can get in otherwise. And the ACC is going to be a one bid league. Big 12 is going to be a one bid league. I don't know, but also I don't want OU to backdoor in at 9-3. I want them to go 10-2. So,
I mean, you want to play this game? I got a spreadsheet right now with all the teams and their schedule and their predicted finish and everything. If you want to look at it.
Nah, I mean, do you want to?
Or we can save it for next week if OU loses, and then we could game out. Can they get in at 9-3?
I'll say it right. If they lose this week, they cannot get in at 9-3 without like an unreal amount of chaos.
Well, yeah, exactly. But yes. So you and I have been technically probably wrong that 9-3. They're a 9-3 team's gonna not get in. Like it can happen this year. It's not likely. Well, no,
it's
maybe
not
it
likely.
is a little bit. No,
I don't think it's likely, but it's totally possible because the ACC is so terrible. I mean, the ACC is the dregs of college football. I mean, it's awful. And honestly, I think Texas Tech is terrific. Texas Tech's good. I'm not so sure Texas Tech wouldn't be the best team in the SEC. I don't think the Big 12 is going to be a two bid league. And whatever we talk about Notre Dame, I just the CFP rankings right now are just such a yawn to me. God, I just don't care like at all. I get it. You know what? Like, I think the only really talking point with this, I think, surrounds Notre Dame and Miami. And you want me to really like? I think Notre Dame is better than Miami. I think I'm very confident in that fact. I don't know. Maybe they should play, and we should see who would win. That's what I got a big problem with. It's just
because they already played.
The results have to matter. They already played. Miami won.
Oh yeah.
Like
they
use head to head with like a lot of other stuff, but not with Notre Dame and Miami. And I know what they would say. It's that their resumes aren't comparable, so head to head doesn't matter. I don't know. Notre Dame's schedule hadn't been that difficult. They've lost to by far the two best teams they've played. Even though I think USC is better than Miami, but I digress.
Yeah, I think Pitt could do us a lot of favors by somehow beating Notre Dame. It's not going to happen because Pitt's probably not very good. But Notre Dame is just eminently boring to me. I mean, Jeremiah Love's a great player. Other than that, I don't really, because I'm with you. Like, they're basically playing an ACC schedule. That's what they've been doing. And then they throw in USC. I mean, USC's a good team. And they beat USC. But I agree. Yeah, let's move on from the playoff talk. It's just not. It doesn't matter right now. Who cares?
And I also the ACC being terrible is gonna, and also them guaranteeing the group of 5 spot, which I believe in, but gosh, I have no desire to watch USF or James Madison go on the road and lose by 40 in the first round of the playoffs. I don't think anybody really does. I have no desire to watch Georgia Tech go get smoked on the road in the first round of the playoffs. So, and I don't I wouldn't want to change something just based off of a 1 or 2 year sample size, because there could be years where Boise was definitely good enough to be in the field last year, and I'm glad that they were. I wish they would have played in the first round. It would have been a pretty interesting first round. But yeah, this is a year where the group of 5 is uniquely pretty underwhelming, and but it is what it is.
All right, let's talk about OU, Alabama, 2:30 on ABC. Go get your digital antenna if you have YouTube TV. So, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about injuries and things like that. We're waiting for the SEC availability report to come out here as we record this, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I would imagine. I think we're both we can talk about it right now. I mean, I think we're both probably – are you expecting R. Mason Thomas to play this Saturday?
I am not. And if he does, I do not expect him to be, like, particularly effective.
Yeah, I don't think so either. What about Kobe McKenzie?
I would say there's a better chance. I mean, he was a game time decision 2 weeks ago, decided not to play, and then he's just had an extra 2 weeks off. So if you put a gun to my head, I would probably guess that McKenzie plays, but RMT probably not.
Agree, and it sounds like we're gonna get Gentry Williams back this week. I know he talked to the media, and I mean, usually if you're available to the media, you're good to go. So, I mean, hopefully he's not rusty, but against this passing offense, I'm very happy that Gentry Williams is likely going to be available to play, and I would imagine
he got banged up against Ole Miss, right?
Gosh, I can't even remember the last time he played. Was it Ole Miss?
That's why I was asking you. I don't know.
I don't think he played against Ole Miss. Let me see. No, he hadn't played a snap since South Carolina.
Okay, so he got banged up against South Carolina then.
Yeah, and he didn't even record anything, so it was, if I remember, it must have been pretty early in that game. So he's had nearly a month of not playing. So it's a heck of a time. I mean, hopefully he's fresh, he's healthy, and this is a great time to get him back because add him in. And although I will say, you mentioned the Tennessee game, talking about corners right now. I mean Eli Bowen, he's been good, he's been fine. Cortland Guillory's had a nice season as well. Davon Jordan, you and I were the only ones that were really giving him praise for that one series. I was very disappointed by the TV copy because we saw his second down play. We saw that where he rallied up and made a nice TFL on a screen pass. And then on the third down play where I think maybe our eyes must have deceived us because I don't think he must have jammed him. Davon Jordan must have jammed Brazel like out of bounds. But if you watch that play on the TV copy, you see Davon Jordan like down the field still covering Brazel, but like totally out of the play. So in my mind, like he had, okay. Yeah.
Did you see? I don't know if like we're the Gabe and Teddy podcast, their post game show of that, which I'm presuming that they watched the All 22, and Teddy called out Davon Jordan exactly for that play. He said he jammed a guy out of bounds on third down.
Okay. Well, good.
I was specifically looking for it, and it was not visible on the TV broadcast. They didn't show a replay. They didn't do anything. But by watching it in the stadium, I swear, like, Aguilar saw that he had single coverage against Davon Jordan with Chris Brazel, who is going to be a first-round draft pick. And I thought that they changed stuff up a little bit, saying, like, oh, God, we have single coverage on a guy we've never heard of before, on our best player. And then I saw Aguilar's eyes go there, and it wasn't available, and that basically blew up the entire play.
Okay, well, good. I did not listen to Gabe and Teddy's post-game show. I just wasn't interested. So nice to see that the part of the episode where Teddy talks about every player on the defense and says all of them played awesome. He was actually accurate about that one. So good for giving Davon Jordan his credit and his due for that. But yeah, I mean, that being said, I mean, Davon had a great series there, but having Gentry back and, having Gentry, Cortland Guillory, and then Eli Bowen as your guys, good. I feel pretty good about that because I think the edges are going to be incredibly important, and being smart on the edges in this game, specifically corners. So I don't know where to begin. I mean, you kind of have all these stats here on the rundown. I mean, I know that we differ in. I think we differ probably in how we both feel about Alabama's offense. We haven't really talked about Alabama's defense much. So,
well, I don't know. How about
let's
I just
start
start? I don't know. How about you just allow me? How about I just throw a grenade into the discussion here? And so this is what I'm about to say here. This is about Alabama, not about how I perceive OU. Like in my mind, like this is still a Brent Venables coach team going into Tuscaloosa trying to win a game. So like this is not me making any sort of prediction or anything like that. It is my belief based off of my eyes when I watched them this season, as well as, and a large part of it, a lot of it to do with analytics like success rate, third down conversions, like high leverage situations, plays that have like a pretty large variance and like have a lot of the times like situations that are hard to replicate. Based off of that, I think Alabama is probably the most overrated team in college football right now. They are not the fourth best team in college football. Now, I think if you want to talk about what they've accomplished, their resume, then I'll listen to it. That's fine. They have some really, really good wins. They've won 8 in a row. But I think on the whole, I think last year's Alabama team is better than this year's Alabama team. I think one is luckier and one is unluckier. I think this year's Alabama team has been quite a bit more lucky than last year's Alabama team has. And I just listen, I think Ty Simpson's a good player. I think Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams are really good players, maybe even great players. Based off of the rhetoric and how people talk about it, Alabama's offense is pretty overrated. They're not very efficient. They have really done well in high leverage situations this season. Other than that, they have bogged down far too often. They cannot run the ball whatsoever. Outside of LSU, they're the worst running team in the SEC. Their offensive line is nothing special. They do give up some sacks. I think this is a game that OU can realistically go in and hope to win this game. And I don't think this is some sort of Herculean effort. This is not a Wagon Alabama team, like whatsoever. An extremely winnable game.
Let's see. Now, if you want to talk about like, I'm not really sure how people talk about the Alabama offense because I don't pay attention to all the national stuff like a lot of people do because I'm now 38 years old and have realized that doesn't matter and I don't really care about any of that stuff anymore because who cares? So I think this Alabama team is definitely better than last year's team. That's wild to say that. I think that's kind of an interesting thought. And this is interesting because having watched more Alabama than I watched Tennessee, than I watched South Carolina, Ole Miss, I'm really impressed by their offense. I don't think this is obviously not like an elite all-time offense because they are pretty one-dimensional. They can't really run the ball well. They run the ball just to kind of keep you honest. But the fact that they are that one-dimensional and that good offensively, that's why this is the best passing offense Oklahoma will have seen this year. And it's because for a few reasons. Ryan Grubb, he's a terrific offensive coordinator, great play caller. He positions his players in spots to where there's a lot of easy open reads for Ty Simpson. He uses motion quite a bit to get advantageous numbers for Ty Simpson. He's able to get receivers like Jeremy Bernard wide open in the flats, wide open deep and deep digs, using his tight end. They use a lot of screen plays, which they don't work as much as they probably should. And Ty Simpson is really good at executing this offense. He is a true pocket passer. He's got terrific pocket awareness. That was the one thing about Arch that was really good on tape. Like Arch is really good at that. Ty Simpson's just as good or if not better than Arch. Ty Simpson's big and tall. He can see down the middle of the field, and he can get the ball out of his hands pretty quickly. And he's mobile enough. He's not a runner. They don't really call run plays, but he can get away from stuff. And I'm just really impressed by how many wide open guys you see in this offense, given that they can't run it. And Jeremy Bernard is terrific. I think he knows how to get open. Ryan Grubb knows he knows how to get open. He's Ty Simpson's favorite target. And that guy, they put him in the backfield. They run trick plays. They ask him to throw the ball every once in a while. He's really good with the ball in his hand. He's effortless. He's smooth. He's a good runner. And then of course Ryan Williams is a really good player as well.
He's been banged up all year.
He's been banged up all year. I mean, he's been coming on of late. Early in the year, he was dropping passes and stuff. He wasn't as involved as Bernard was. Tight end Cuevas is just a guy. He's kind of a jag. I mean, he's just a lot of guys could be in that offense. He's nothing special. Man, against LSU, Simpson threw a just dot to him up the sideline on a little out and up, which is a great throw. Ty Simpson's accuracy is great. And so given Oklahoma's struggles in the secondary against competent passing offenses, that concerns me. And so all of this season, of all of my concerns, your concerns about the secondary, I'm very happy they're facing Alabama now. And this is the third straight game against a really good offense. I know you just passing offense more precisely. You disagree, but I think facing Alabama third after facing Ole Miss and Tennessee is great because I think this is the best one. I think this is the most schemed up one, most schemed up passing offense. They find holes in the zone, which Oklahoma is very bad at allowing. And so that's what concerns me the most about this game is Ty Simpson picking Oklahoma's secondary apart because Alabama, their strength is finding open receivers in the secondary and picking secondaries apart. And so you hope that Oklahoma can get after them. They couldn't get after Arch Manning, though. And not like Arch threw the ball around the field, but he made plays when he needed to. So you need to avoid that Wisner 40-yard run, that open things up for Texas in that game. You gotta, if you're Oklahoma's defense, you gotta continue to be nails against the run. You can't let Jam Miller, and then the other guy that's kind of coming on of late,
Kevin Riley.
Well, not even Riley. There's another guy that's been coming on of late that's been playing more than Riley lately. Let me get his name. Daniel Hill. He's been getting a little bit more run than Riley the last few games, but they're not doing anything. I mean, they're averaging like less than 4 yards per carry. Don't let those guys break it off and really get those extra yards in the run game. And so that's why I think this Alabama passing offense is so scary because I like all. But not to mention, I didn't mention Horton, who's a really, really good receiver, number one. And another guy that they get out of, let's see, who's the other receiver? Brooks. Brooks is another player that's been coming on of late that Simpson's been getting a lot out of number 17. So that's why I think this Alabama passing offense is better than anybody else they face because Ty Simpson's the best quarterback they've seen, and I think this is the best scheme throwing the ball that they've seen this year. And so all of that's leading to this test. If Oklahoma's secondary can pass it, who's going to win the game? I mean, it really comes down to that, I think.
Yeah, I don't. The way that you describe them is you sound like a lot of other sort of talking heads describing Alabama, but then, and I get it, but when I look at the numbers, it does not translate to what you're saying at all. Alabama's offense bogs down a lot. They bog down a lot. They go 3 and out quite a bit. They have the same on the season. They have the same success rate as Oklahoma does, 44%. Going into this game, you have Alabama's offense is 20th in SP+. OU is 29th. That's not like some huge thing. And of this 3-game stretch of really good offenses, statistically, Alabama's is by far the worst of these 3 teams that they've played. I think Tennessee's offense is much more schemed open than Alabama's is. Alabama has struggled to move the ball far too much in SEC play. And you give them credit, they're 6-0 and they're a good team, a really good team, maybe even. But this is not some sort of crazy behemoth that OU is about to face offensively right now. It's not.
So this is the, I can't remember if I if I hinted at this early in the show, or if I just did this off air. Something I have not heard anybody talk about. And granted, I just acknowledge. Well, I don't listen to national stuff, but I read local stuff and listen to OU podcasts, and didn't hear Gabe and Teddy talk about this when they talked about Alabama's offense versus Oklahoma's defense. The thing that Alabama does so well, and it doesn't show up in all of your analytical numbers, I think. Alabama is excellent holding on to the football. They have long, sustained drives all year long, and they play keep away. And that's part of Grubb's offensive philosophy. They have been terrific with time of possession. Against Georgia, you were talking to me about how like Georgia probably should have won that game. Like I watched the game.
Alabama 19% win expectancy in that game.
Then throw that metric out, because Alabama pretty much was in control of that game the entire time. I think they led the entire way, and they outpossessed the football 35-30 to 25-30. That's why they had the ball almost the entire game. Against Vanderbilt, 37-30 to 22-30, almost 2-1. Keep playing keep away from Diego Pavia. Now against Tennessee, it was a little bit more even, 31-29. Missouri, it was even worse than Vanderbilt, 38-30 to 21-30. They play keep away, and they go on long drives. I mean, every single game against Georgia, in the first quarter, they had a 14-play, 74-yard drive, 6.5 minutes.
I guess, can you, because it's been a while, and I watched the Alabama and Georgia game as it was going on. When I was watching it live, nearly 2 months ago, I felt like the game was pretty even. And you say that Alabama was in control the entire time. Alabama averaged barely over 5 yards per play in that game. Georgia averaged 6.8 yards per play. That's a large difference.
As I watched the game, it's because they had the ball the entire time, and they were leading the entire game. And in some high leverage spots, Georgia had some really bad play calls. But
you know what that can also mean, though, Lee, is that they're not Alabama's offense is not super explosive. They really, really rely on being efficient. And when you're going up against an OU defense, which leads the country in success rate on defense, they lead the country in havoc, tackles for loss. They're fourth in sacks. That's a bad matchup for an Alabama team that wants to grind you out in 15 drive plays. If that's the case, OU's going to be sweet, let's do it.
No, that's the success, or the key to success for Oklahoma. But Oklahoma's also a team that against competent passing offenses are not very good on third down. They give up plays on third down and long. And when you get Grubb, the OC, seeing Oklahoma film and seeing that secondary has a lot of holes in there against teams that know how to throw the ball, and that's what he's really good at, scheming open, he's going to be able to lick his chops, and that's what concerns me. So I don't really care about all that other stuff, because what Alabama does really, really well, Oklahoma, that's their weakness on defense. So that's what they got to figure it out. And that's what makes it interesting to me.
I could also say, though, that on, in a third and long situation, that's kind of where, and OU has struggled with it. You're right. They've struggled against Texas, Ole Miss, and at Tennessee at times. And I would, they struggled at times against Tennessee. Other times they were able to get to Aguilar pretty easily. And so, but really, in my mind, it's the Texas and the Ole Miss games where OU really struggled on third and long. But you're sitting here telling me that you don't want OU to have Alabama in third and long? That's exactly where you want OU's defense to have Alabama.
Well, yeah, of course I want them to have him third and long. It's just that they got to get off the field, though.
Yeah, and I don't think listen. I'm not even predicting OU to win this game or anything like that. But I'm just I'm just getting a little annoyed with the Alabama ball washing. This is not Nick Saban Alabama. This is a very beatable team. If this game was in Norman, I would have zero reservations of saying that Oklahoma is going to win this game.
That's fine. It's just when I actually have spent a lot of time watching this team more than any other teams, I can actually comment and tell you what they do really well. And what Alabama does really well is the thing that Oklahoma on defense does the least well.
I would say, though, that, and Alabama is really good on third and long this year. I don't think Ryan Grubb wants to be in third and long. That's not their
No,
game
of course he
plan
doesn't
to
wanna be
be
in
in
third
third and long. But why do you think that they're in third and long a lot? It's because they can't run the ball, and relative to how people talk about them, they're pretty inefficient on offense. Like Ty Simpson, he averages 8.3 yards per attempt. That's not bad. It's also not like great. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's just bombing away. Like Ty Simpson's a good player. He is not radically better than a Trinidad Chambliss. He just isn't. And
I think he is. I think in the scheme and the system of what they want to do, I think he is. I think because, and again, I think Simpson's mobile enough to keep you honest. Like he's not as mobile as Chambliss, obviously. But also, I mean, that game was on the road for Trinidad Chambliss. This is going to be a game at home for Ty Simpson. It's going to be a lot easier.
Jeez, man, Bama was at 4.3 yards per play against Missouri. Let's see here, Missouri was at. Give me 1 second here. A little back to the.
Yeah, they're on the field a lot. They're taking up a lot of time.
Missouri was at 5.8 yards per play. I mean, that's 2 games in the SEC in terms of yards per play. There's been a yard and a half difference. That's massive. They won both of those games. Do you have any how lucky that is?
That's not lucky, man. They're on the field.
Yes,
They're playing
it is.
keep away. Why couldn't Missouri get them off the field? Get them off the field. Get the ball back. They couldn't do it. And that's like Oklahoma has also been poor this year with time of possession.
I don't know. Alabama had 325 yards on 75 snaps in that game. Like Alabama was like moving the ball easily or something. They obviously weren't.
I mean, that tells me that they know how to win games. They know how to win games in different ways.
Oklahoma
has not been good possessing the football. If Alabama possesses the football the same way that they did against Missouri and Vanderbilt and Georgia, Oklahoma's not going to win the game. Like that's just pure and simple.
I agree that if Alabama is converting 3rd and 9s and 3rd and 12s regularly, that like OU's not going to win. But also, as an OU fan, as a guy, like I want Alabama to be in 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 12. That sounds great. That plays right into OU's strengths as well.
Well, yeah, everybody wants their opponent to be in 3rd and long.
So what you're telling me is that Alabama has been overly reliant on having to convert on 3rd and long situations this year.
Well, I don't know if it's always 3rd and long. It's probably they're constantly 3rd and manageable.
I brought up that Bill Connolly like fatal flaw thing. That was Alabama's fatal flaw. Is that they are in 3rd and long a ton, and that they are having to, and that they're converting 3rd and longs at like an uncommon pace. That does not match up with the rest of the efficiencies of their offense. So like I don't know. I think this is a game where I think OU really has a good chance of winning this game. They got to play well. But Alabama's defense is better than their offense. Like I think it's clear that that's the case.
I don't think so. And we
got the availability report here. By the way,
let's transition because let's flip it. What's the availability report say? Can you show it? Talk about it?
I can't show it. Give me 1 second here. There's one on
I haven't seen it yet.
There's one on there that we do not like seeing. That is kind of annoying. Jaden Jackson is listed as questionable for this game.
Okay, I cannot.
As is R. Mason Thomas. Kobe McKenzie is probable. Derek Simmons probable. Keontae Lewis is probable.
Interesting. Hopefully he's okay.
Well, I mean, presumably he is. That'd be pretty nice if they can get if it's like the Keontae Lewis from September, if he's like back, and I think that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Sure don't like Jaden Jackson being on there.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on Alabama's report that's really notable. Derek Simmons is probable, but I mean the 2 freshmen have kind of taken over the tackle position, so. But that's good for depth.
No, yeah, you still need that extra. You want that extra body, and it's not like Simmons has been bad this season when he's played. So
this is the first time we've seen Taylor Tatum on the injury report.
No, he's been on there the last like 3 or 4 games.
He has?
I feel like. Yeah, or since the South Carolina, because he played in the South Carolina game at the end, and then I think he's been on the injury report every single time since.
Yeah, why is Jaden Jackson questionable? That's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. So that could potentially not be great, but also it's, we'll see what happens. There's plenty of time here. So it could just be
I'm
weird precautionary thing.
Sure. And like I'm number one, hey, like defensive players are not anywhere near as important as offensive players guy, because it's true. But when you're talking about like literally like 2 of Oklahoma's best, I mean, one, their best defensive player, and possibly their second best defensive player, in Jaden Jackson, it's like, okay, now it's like that does have a little bit of effect. That can, even with the depth of Oklahoma's defense, like, yeah, like if you're Alabama, you're like, you kind of like seeing that. You're like, if we don't got to worry about those 2 guys, that would be pretty cool. That's what.
So we'll see. There is like a precedent. I'm trying to think of like trends that guys who have like never appeared on the injury report, and I don't think we've seen Jaden Jackson on there this year at all. And if like they're just even a little bit banged up, they're always like questionable on the first one. Because like you go look at like Simmons, McKenzie, Keontae Lewis, those are all guys who have been on past availability reports as questionable. And so now it's like, hey, here's an update. These guys are probable. So like it probably, when the next report comes out tomorrow night, wouldn't surprise me if those 3 guys under probable just aren't even on there anymore. So we'll see. I don't think, just because we haven't heard anything about it. I don't remember him getting hurt against Tennessee. And remember, he didn't play against Kent State. And so maybe it's the same thing where he was held out for Kent State and it's just kind of lingering, and it just is what it is. So
I'm talking about Jaden Jackson right now?
Yeah, Jaden Jackson.
Okay, man, it's just coming off a bye week and you got the guy out. It's just, come on. Hopefully it wasn't something in practice. Like, come on.
So, because, I mean, that'd be a huge loss.
Let's flip the script over to the OU offense versus the Alabama defense. You just said that you think the defense is better than Alabama's defense is better than Alabama's offense. What about Alabama's defense stands out to you? What do you like about the Crimson Tide?
Well, and this doesn't necessarily, I guess, matter in terms of OU, who's not an explosive offense at all this year. But that's been Alabama's strength. They just don't really allow explosive plays. They're not a havoc-based defense. Thank you for getting the stats here. They only have,
but they want to be.
They want to be. They only have 18
sacks.
They only have 18 sacks, tied for 67th nationally. 51 TFLs. That's 63rd. So their defense, that I think they are kind of your classic bend, do not break defense. If I'm looking at like my little analytical stats correctly, they are really good at, like, there's this stat of points per successful drive, where I think it's essentially like a drive that goes into the red zone, and like how many points on average do you give up on those drives? And Alabama is like one of the best defenses in the country in terms of that. So even when they do give up like length of field drives, a lot of the times they're holding teams to field goals. It's not like an overwhelming thing. It's like you're not, whereas last week 2 weeks ago against Tennessee, you have a Tennessee offense that bleeds a lot of yards. They gave up a lot of yards, a lot of points, but they also had a lot of havoc. They were in the top 5 in the country in sacks and tackles for loss. That's not the case here with Alabama. They do force you to go the length of the field on them, but they're sort of comfortable doing that. And it's an efficient defense. And this is more of just like, I'm just tired. I just think Alabama's offense is overrated. So I think their defense is better. Just sick of
what
hearing
Alabama
about
wants to do, I said that they want to create havoc and stuff like that. I suppose more precisely, they want to create turnovers, and they've done a good job at that. I mean, they've forced 16 takeaways this year, 8 picks, 8 fumble recoveries. And because of that, the reason why they're able to do that is because Kane Womack, they play a lot of zone. And they want to create takeaways by having their secondary players and their linebackers read the quarterback's eyes and breaking on balls and getting into passing lanes and tipping balls and things like that. And
you say they have
punching
8
balls out.
Fumble recoveries?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They've had like a lot of them in the last 3 games or so, though.
Okay.
I think they had 2 last week. I think they had maybe 1 against Tennessee or 2, and then maybe 1 against South Carolina. So a lot of them.
I guess
have
that's
come of
like
late.
kind of whereas I know just like with the SP Plus numbers, I think Alabama might be the number 1 turnover luck team in college football this year. And like by turnover luck, it's about, it's like that means they probably recover like a weirdly large amount of fumbles. I think Ty Simpson's only thrown 1 pick. I don't know how many fumbles they've lost on offense, but they have. Whereas I know last year Alabama was like one of the worst turnover luck teams in college football. So like that's I don't know. So and there's nothing that says that luck has to straighten out against Oklahoma, but like, and I know that there is no statistical argument for anybody being due, but eventually the bill does come due, and Alabama has gotten by on a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah, Alabama's turnover mark, they're plus 10 turnovers. For context, OU is minus 5 in that. And, yeah, I mean, we saw maybe the start of the Tennessee game was the sign of things to come. Maybe, I mean, if they can turn over Ty Simpson. I mean, he's only thrown 1 pick. They have Bama's lost 5 fumbles. They had 6 total turnovers, only 1 pick. He's very accurate, man. And Oklahoma plays a lot of man. They don't play a lot of zone. So it's just But then again, I mean, Peyton Bowen's interception came on the situation where he was playing, a deep middle safety, made the play. Robert Spears-Jennings' interception that Aguilar just dished up was obviously a scenario where he was playing deep and playing, and made the play. So who knows? But the thing is, I don't know. I already talked about that matchup, offense versus defense, but Alabama's defense to me, man, like it's a good defense, but I don't know. I kind of have this. It doesn't seem like it's not only. I guess 42 Pierre is like create some havoc. He's pretty good, I guess, but like none of their like players are like, man, that guy's awesome, or like they're just kind of a bunch of dudes that do their job. And
that's the thing. Yeah, they don't have. I think that's one of the biggest differences between this Alabama and the Alabama of the past is that they don't really have any mutants on the defensive line, like in their defensive front. This Yanze Pierre guy, he's got 5 sacks in 2 of his last 3 games. So, I mean, he's kind of filled up this, but for the most part, they've struggled to get after the quarterback this season. If it hasn't been Yanze Pierre, they've kind of struggled. I know LT Overton, he's a defensive tackle. He's got 4 sacks this year. But other than that, they haven't really been a defense that gets after the quarterback super aggressively. The one thing that Alabama does allow is you can run on them a little bit. I think it's something like, gosh, I'm going off of memory now, but they're like in the 60s in terms of yards per carry allowed this season.
I got you. No, I got it. I got it in my notes. You can get, like you said, you can get yards on the ground against Bama. Bama's defense is allowing 4.3 yards per carry on average, which only Mississippi State and Arkansas are worse in the SEC in that stat category. So if Oklahoma runs the ball well, stays on schedule, they do the same thing Alabama does to other teams, and they control the clock. That's great, obviously. That's what I think Arbuckle wants to do that. We saw earlier in the season against Michigan, not as much against Auburn, but he wants to do that. He has ideas of that. And then if Oklahoma can run the ball, stay on schedule with Xavier Robinson, maybe that creates opportunities for Ben Arbuckle, John Mateer. Those safeties start creeping up, wanting to help against the run. Maybe they can create some shot play opportunities. Maybe we can see Isaiah Satania running deep down the field.
You know what I also hear when you say, hey, they like to play a lot of zone? Then I immediately start thinking free yards going to be way more available than they have been.
That's another reason why I'm not as impressed with this defense as maybe the stats say, because they do play a lot of soft coverage, and there's free yards to be had. Now, here's the downside, though, to seeing a lot of zone defense. If Mateer's not seeing it, and he just doesn't really know what to look for, which we've seen lots of this year, he can get baited into some throws, and he can just miss guys, and they can't take advantage of it when they throw the football. That's where you're like, I'm not sure if Mateer knows what he's looking at when he's facing a zone defense, which is very sad to say because he's a this is his second year as a starter, third year with Arbuckle. I think that's right. And that's kind of where I'm like, that's where Bama wants to be in. I mean, like they get their guys out there. Their corners are good. Their secondary players their safeties are okay. I know Hubbard's like their number 18's pretty good, and he's fine. He's a big bodied safety. I like their corners though. Their corners are pretty good. They're pretty sticky and do a nice job. Not a lot of open guys. They don't let you get that outside release like a lot of teams do.
I'm just like I'm looking here. I want to, and I'm sorry. I know we were talking about their defense, but I don't know. I study that South Carolina game tape a lot. Ty Simpson was 24 of 43 in that game for 253 for 5.9 yards per attempt. So,
yeah, that was the one game
know,
I didn't see in that game.
Alabama
also, that was a really bad spot for Alabama. I mean, that was a terrible spot, and they found a way to win.
Alabama has not, against good defenses this season, has not played great on offense a single time this year. Hadn't happened.
See, I guess that's where them possessing the ball for as long as they have and controlling the game, to me, that's impressive. And that's why they're so good. And Oklahoma is susceptible to that because how poor their offense is at times, giving the ball back to a good offense. And that was essentially the first half against Tennessee. And then they were able to flip the script in the second half, which was great. Flip the script. I keep leaving off the T. Flip the script.
I don't know. Against like I'm sitting here just back of my hand math here against the three best. I'll even say the four best. They've played four like good defenses in the SEC this year, and those 4 games they're averaging under 5 yards per play.
Okay.
Against Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, and LSU.
Yeah, and all those games they kind of controlled and won. So, and when they need Ty Simpson to throw and get guys wide open, they typically do. And so, but that's why it's so interesting. This whole game. That's why I'm very excited and happy that this game is happening now and not like what the Ole Miss game was. And because this is I know you disagree, but I do think this is kind of the final. And they'll have 2 games after this, but LSU's offense has been pretty bad. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier got benched, and Missouri's down to their 3rd string quarterback now, and they looked like just terrible against Texas A&M last week. So they're not going to see an offense like this the rest of the season, the rest of the regular season, obviously. And so I think it's really interesting how like all this like it's kind of can the secondary pass the test, and I think they can. It's just. I got to see it to believe it, and it's going to be on the safeties, and it's going to be on the linebackers, man. Mostly on the linebackers.
I think this is a great spot. It's a great spot for OU. You have, one, you're coming off of a bye where you can kind of rest up a little bit, and you're coming off of a bye in which your quarterback who has been nursing a hand played his best half of football probably since the Auburn game. You have, and I would say you have an Alabama team coming in knowing that they just need to win 2 of their last 3 to make it into the playoff. In fact, they just need to win 2 of their last 3 to make it to the SEC title game. You have, you have an Alabama team that everybody, I don't know if everybody's picking Alabama. Everybody is just kind of writing OU off in this game. I don't think anybody has even had the guts to say out in public, this Alabama team's pretty overrated. Nobody's been saying that at all. All you've been hearing about is that, oh gosh, these Alabama guys, they remember that game against OU last year. And I don't know, man, this is a good spot. This is by far the best defense that Alabama has faced this season. I think OU is in a really good spot to go in there and win this game. Will they? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I have the heart to pick it. But this is a real good spot for OU. I think they can. I think they can go in and. It's not gonna surprise me if they go in and they win the game, but I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people if they do so. And I don't know.
Let's get to it.
I think all OU needs is just Alabama to be who they've been in SEC play so far, and then OU just needs to play well.
All right, so got those questions we always ask. What do we want to see? I'll start. What do we want to see on offense when Oklahoma has the football? Obviously, I want to see Oklahoma run the football well. Do not give up on the run. They need to run it with Xavier Robinson, and they're going to probably need Torley Blaylock too. They're going to need more than, I think, one back in this game. So they're going to need to stay on schedule, pick at what Alabama's weakness is on defense, which is rush defense. It's not great. And then hopefully that opens up easy, schemed-up throws for John Mateer to get in a rhythm, have him on the move, hit Isaiah Satania. If Keontez loses back and then fully healthy, that's a great sign because he's a good big-bodied third down target. And let's hit some explosive plays over the top. And on this team that Alabama, they have not given up very many explosive plays. Alabama's defense has given up just as many explosives as Oklahoma has this year, which is not that much, but probably more than we would have liked Oklahoma's defense to give up. I believe it's 29, I think I looked it up. And explosive plays are 20-plus yard plays, by the way. And how about this? And I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find a good example of it. Speaking of, like, potential shot plays, and I'm mad at my computer because I could not search and find Cooper Mather's name in any of my notes to go back and try to figure it out. But I know that Ben Arbuckle had at least 2 or 3 designed shot plays for Cooper Mathers last year. And I can't remember. I couldn't find them, and this is a terrible podcast, but I know they existed. Go back in our old podcast. We talked about them. Can those shot plays come out for Jaren Kanak in this game? Maybe of all this, just he's not really been much of the offense. Can finally maybe there be a shot play or two designed for Jaren Kanak to go up the seam and get wide open, maybe an out and up or something, and maybe they find something against this defense. They can run, I don't know, they can run Satania on a deep crosser and then bring in Kanak behind it on a wheel to clear out a safety and have him on a shot play. It's just something. This is going to be a Jaren Kanak big game. Give it to me. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I think first and foremost, you need to stay ahead of the chains. Play into what Alabama's weakness is. Run the ball down their throat. It kind of seems like OU has found something, especially in the second half against Tennessee. We'll see if Xavier Robinson can keep it going. Have they found something in the run game with John Mateer? Hopefully after a couple of weeks, his knee or whatever was banged up in his lower body has had some time to heal. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of an explosion out of him, a little bit more wiggle that I was sort of accustomed to seeing before he got banged up. Got to stay ahead of the chains. And when you have guys open on third down or on second and long, John Mateer, you got to hit him. You got to hit him. You can't miss guys who are wide open, which unfortunately he has done at times too. And I think last but definitely not least, like I said earlier, how Alabama is really good at minimizing the damage whenever they give up successful drives. When you get into the red zone, this is something that OU has been really good at this season. You get inside your opponent's 20, score a touchdown. OU is one of the best teams in college football. That is what has taken their offense from being maybe mediocre to being pretty decent. Because when they are able to get into the red zone, they have been able to score touchdowns this season. That's going to have to happen, especially on the road against Alabama. Who are they playing? Alabama, that's right.
I want to just drive it home, too. One last thing is...
don't turn the ball
OU's
over
offense.
Sorry.
Right, and Alabama's obviously thrived off of takeaways this year. Flip the page on Alabama. Control the clock. Control the football. Play keep away. Shorten the game. Alabama's going to want to do that to you, which is interesting because Alabama's offense, you'd think, we're going to keep Oklahoma's good defense off the field, but that's what Alabama's done this year. They've stayed on the field for a long time, and they've held long, sustained, time-consuming drives that just kind of take the air out of the opposing team. So flip the script. Win the time of possession battle, like at minimum, like 33-27, please. That'd be great. That would be a great sign for Oklahoma's offense in that game. And then just lastly, give credit to the offensive line. Played pretty well last week. The two freshmen, Foje and Fasusi on the outside, You got Mikla, Wee Woo and EPL. EPL kind of being the new guy in there. Hopefully they continue to keep mauling up front and creating some space and keeping Mateer clean when they want to throw it. All right. Other way around. Oklahoma's defense against Alabama's offense. Grant, what do you want to see in this game?
I think first and foremost, this is obvious, but Alabama is going to struggle to run the ball. I'm curious to see whether or not Alabama is, and this is one of the things where if Alabama just comes out and says, screw it, we're not even going to try to run the ball, then I'll just be like, okay. Well, because it should be, Alabama should want to throw it 40 to 45 times in this game if they're really trying to win. But we'll see. I'm sure they're gonna still try to kind of go between the tackles there as just sort of like a try to keep you off balance type of deal. My big thing though is that Alabama has thrived in 3rd and long, and they're in a lot of 3rd and longs. 3 and outs, baby. Get them out. Quick change, and because I think it's there for you. It's gonna take flipping the script and and preventing Alabama to do what they've had a lot of success doing this year. But I do think that plays right into your hands. Looks like, we don't know what the status of R. Mason Thomas is going to be, or now even Jaden Jackson. And so that could sort of handicap OU's pass rush even just like a little bit. But I don't want OU to be afraid of heating Ty Simpson up in this game. If you can get home just rushing 4, great. But I think they've had a lot of success this year. They had a lot of success against Tennessee, just sending an extra guy as well. Do not be afraid to do that. This is an Alabama offensive line that is like massive. They're huge, and at times they are not particularly fleet of foot. So like Caden Proctor, that guy is a massive human being. He does not move particularly well. He just doesn't at all. And so this is where it's like a 100% healthy R. Mason Thomas would really help in this regard, because if I recall last year, R. Mason Thomas made Caden Proctor's life pretty hellish when we were playing in Norman. So I think the biggest deal for OU's defense in this game is you got to flip the script on Alabama, get them off the field on 3rd and down. Man, if you can hit Ty Simpson too, that'd just be like a big deal. And hey, turn him over a little bit. He's only thrown 1 pick. He's due to throw a couple to the defense. And that's only going to be easier for OU if they're harassing him the entire game.
Yeah, hopefully they come in bunches, man. A couple last week or 2 weeks ago. Maybe it's a sign of things to come. It starts to happen for you. You see it happen. It's like kind of like what they say in basketball. Like you see the ball go through the hoop, and then it gets contagious. And maybe it's the same thing with turnovers, takeaways. On my end, I'll start in the secondary, and I'd like to see the linebackers get good depth in pass coverage. Jeremy Bernard and Williams are going to run a lot of deep digs, mostly Bernard, and I'm concerned about linebackers not getting depth enough to where we're just seeing wide open players catching passes in the middle of the field, 18 to 25 yards down the field. So I saw that against LSU, saw that against Georgia, saw it really against Tennessee, all other teams. So that's something where I want to see the linebackers have good eyes and get depth when they need to. On the outside, for the love of God, please do not give up outside releases to these outside receivers. Ty Simpson will gladly take that wide open throw between the corner and the safety and that cover 2 look, that little honey hole throw. If you easily give up an outside release, it's a simple throw and a simple chunk play. Saw that too much against Georgia. Georgia giving that stuff up. Saw that. Tennessee, not surprisingly, just lazy corner on the outside, giving up outside releases. And Alabama goes for it. They want to stretch you. They want to get out there on the edges. So please do not give up outside releases. Get that jam them to the inside if you're at a cover 2 technique. Don't give up big run plays. This team cannot run the ball well. Do not give up big run plays. Robert Spears-Jennings, if I see you bite up on a play action and let a guy get behind you and give up a touchdown or a big play, or it's a bad throw and it should have been a big play, but you got lucky. Dude, quit it. I want to see that fixed. Let your front seven stop the run against this team that can't run it. Play deep safety. They need you back there to protect against the pass. How about this? The crap they do with Caden Proctor, getting him the football and stuff, is dumb. I want
way too cute. It's way too cute.
It's stupid. I want them to try it and have it blow up in their face. And I want him to like fumble and have Robert Spears Jennings pick it up and take it to the house. Like them trying to do some kind of cute, weird thing with him. I think it's dumb. I think it's really
that's
stupid.
One where if he's got the ball and well, he's a big dude, but and I know it's like, big guy like that, you want to chop him down at his legs, but part of me just like put your helmet right into his chest if he's got the ball.
What I like the most realistic blow up in their face situation is if they're in short yardage and they bring him in, they have him like act as like a fullback or something, and they give him a little dive play and the handoff is not clean and he just fumbles it forward and Oklahoma recovers it. That would probably be the most realistic kind of blow up because he's not used to getting handoffs. I want to see that happen. I want to see them try to use him on offense with the ball and it blow up in their face. And, I want to see the secondary and the linebackers cover really well against the pass because I think that's what Alabama does really well. I don't want to see Jeremy Bernard running free and going for 150 and 2 touchdowns. I think he certainly can. He's that good. I think he's a lot more scary than the what's the kid's first name? Williams?
Ryan.
I was going to say Kyle, but that was the Washington State player. Kyle, Ryan, 2 very generic 4-word names. Ryan Williams is a good player. I think Jeremy Bernard's a lot more polished at this stage of his career. And I think Horton's really good too. He's big. He's kind of a matchup problem. He's big. He's tall. That guy kind of scares me as well.
Yeah, they have good pass catchers. I think as a group, as a collective group, what they saw in Knoxville 2 weeks ago, I think is a little bit better what Alabama has.
All right. What is going to happen in this game right now? As I look, Oklahoma is a 5.5-point underdog. It opened at around, depending on what book you looked at, it opened at 7, 6.5, 7. Might have been 7.5 at some places. I know in the summertime it was like Alabama 13, 13.5, maybe 14. So Oklahoma definitely has improved since the summer. So at 5.5, that's the betting line, Grant. What's going to happen in the game?
Well, I mean, as good of a spot as I think this is for OU, this is still a Brent Venables coach team going on the road, playing a good team, and they have to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. I think that's kind of a lot. That's a lot to ask. A road game in the SEC. And also, the one thing I keep coming back to in my head is that how realistic is it really that they go on the road and win for the second consecutive week against a good team on the road with 3 freshmen starting on the offensive line? That's kind of what I keep going back to, where it's just like as good of a spot this is for OU. Is it just thinking that they can go in and win this game, even if I do think it's an overrated Alabama team? Is that just come off as a little bit too good to be true? And if you had to put if you put a gun to my head and ask me what would happen, I think OU probably drops this one, but in a really valiant effort. Like, this is going to be a slugfest. I think there are going to be a lot of punches in the mouth thrown in this game. I'm thinking more of I'd take 24-20 Alabama.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we got to stick to our principles here. And I mean, you named it. You said it. Brent Venables is still the head coach of this team. He still has a lot to prove, and every game is the biggest game for him. And to his credit, and Oklahoma's credit, they won against Tennessee, and they, after that Ole Miss game and a good spot for them where they were, 5.5-point favorite at home and just lost outright. They bounced back and they beat a good Tennessee team on the road. I'm with you though. Coming out of a bye, Oklahoma has not been that great under Venables. They've kind of Historically, they've not been all that good. Weirdly, last year, out of their second bye, was the Alabama win. So maybe coming out of a bye against Alabama is just what Oklahoma needs. So there's that. Being on the road obviously is incredibly difficult. I just think I could see Oklahoma coming out in the first half and looking pretty good, but as the game goes on, I think Ryan Grubb, he's a really good offensive coordinator. He's just a lot more experienced than Ben Arbuckle. I can see Ben Arbuckle being overwhelmed here in this one, making some really weird play calls. Maybe, if the run doesn't happen, putting the game too much on Mateer's shoulders, and maybe Mateer rises to the occasion. Maybe his hand is fully healthy and he's seeing it better. Who knows? But yeah, I can't pick Oklahoma to win this game, knowing what we know about them right now. I got to see it to believe it. And it's 5.5 point dogs. At least a little bit of money is coming in on the Sooners. I do think the number's kind of high, but I don't know. I'm gonna say that Alabama's passing offense, I think they're gonna hold the ball. They're gonna do what they do. I say Alabama wins the game like 24-17, and it's just kind of like 24-14. Tate Sandell is shut out. Nothing. We're just like, oh man.
I'm back to being all anxious about Tate Sandell. Far too much Tate Sandell ball washing over the last 2 weeks. He's still a college kicker. But yeah, I mean, I still think it's a really good spot. And as for as much Tate Sandell ball washing as there's been, it's nowhere near as much Alabama ball washing as there's been since the middle of September. And man, they are just so primed to get beat on their home field. They really are. And it'd be sweet. It'd be really cool if OU can go in, because I think maybe one of the reasons why I'm struggling getting there is that if OU goes in and wins this game, I mean, Brent Venables has arrived here. I mean, he's here. He's the coach. He goes in and he wins this game. There's really no way around it. And
your
and
standard is
I very
playoff
obviously
or bust, right?
And I very obviously want that to happen. But I'm struggling to picture what that reality looks like.
Yeah, I hear you. It's just, I mean, based on what we know about him as a coach and this team, his team, they don't win this football game. they don't win this game. This is not a game they win. The Tennessee game, weirdly, just coming off of a loss, was kind of more of like, yeah, they can win this game. And also I think this Alabama team is better. I mean, it's a better team than the Tennessee team, and
I think they are. I think they're better than Tennessee, not like dramatically though.
Which, I mean, the Tennessee game was. I was going back and rewatching that, and when Tennessee was driving at the end of the first half, I was like, oh, that's right. This is that series where the 14-point swing happens, basically. Just an awful throw by Aguilar. Just what a terrible decision by him. But yeah, it's just I think Ty Simpson's really good. I think he's a really good player. I think he's smart. I think he knows exactly what Ryan Grubb wants him to do, and I think he's primed to find a lot of openings in Oklahoma's secondary. The key will be if Oklahoma can disguise some blitzes, get after him, and make his life uncomfortable, and then maybe that accuracy falls off, and then hey, we're golden.
Just curious to see if that turnover luck starts to go in an opposite direction. And maybe it already started to 2 weeks ago for OU in terms of, but they also turned it over twice, and they lost a fumble, which is, the reason why they say that fumbles are like it's a luck thing is because like over the course of football history, it's usually a coin flip. If you fumble, whoever recovers it, it's like a coin flip. And so I know last year, like OU's offense, they lost like an unbelievably large amount of their fumbles. But the defense, I'm pretty sure, also recovered like a weirdly large amount of the fumbles that they forced a season ago as well. So over time, all of that stuff evens out. Doesn't necessarily even out over the course of a season. But man, Alabama's been super fortunate in that regard this year. And it'd be really nice if kind of some things start to go against them and in that regard. So also the big break. It's a big break that OU's not playing this game at night. But it's even though I mean half of the game will be played at night. But I don't know. I feel way better about it that it's the 2:30 kick and not a 6:30 kick.
Man, too bad it's not going to get it's not on CBS anymore. I get the old school. It'd
Be pretty sweet. That would be
2:30 SEC game of the week.
I think I saw
missed it.
Like Stuart Mandel tweeted, I think it was like on Monday, and he was just like, and the whole point was just to show just like how things have changed for CBS in that regard now, where it's like the CBS game of the week, I think, is 3-6 Michigan State versus another 3-6 team. I think it's Penn State,
Probably
Michigan State, and Penn
maybe?
State. Yeah. It's just like, well done, CBS. Way to drop the bag.
Yeah, I don't know how they decided that they were going to give up those rights to the SEC.
Well, I mean,
they let somebody outbid them.
Yeah, they got ESPN outbid them, and because I think for the longest time, like, yeah, I mean, you used to be a big Clay Travis guy, and he always said that that CBS SEC deal was the best deal in all of sports media. That was for CBS.
Well, yeah, they weren't paying much for it at all.
They weren't paying a whole lot for it at all.
Yeah,
and I
they
think
didn't want
I
to pony
think
up the money to keep paying for it.
Yeah, and I think it was as simple as ESPN came in and actually just paid market value for the SEC, which is billions and billions of dollars. So,
well, I mean, they probably overpaid. I mean, ESPN
Probably,
overpays
yeah.
for a lot of stuff. I mean,
That's
they
a
overpay
good
for the
point.
NBA, and that's why we're now trying to get more money out of everybody with their stupid app, and that's why we can't watch their games unless we go to Sling TV. Bring it all the way back around. All right, let's talk about the rest of college football somewhat briefly. In the SEC, looking at the games here. Here we go. Let's share my screen.
oh,
I
okay.
remember how to do that. Here we go. Share screen. All right, here we go. We're going to share this so everyone can see. And I'm going to ask you and the viewers on YouTube and Spotify. By the way, watch the show on YouTube. Watch it on Spotify as well. Like, subscribe, do all the things I guess people do. We're terrible at marketing the show. It's all organic. What I want to ask you here in these games that we're not going to pick, you see any potential upsets here? Because these are big old lines. And A&M, South Carolina. South Carolina going to knock off A&M.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
All right.
I mean, I guess, yeah, right now I would actively probably pick Arkansas to beat LSU.
So Arkansas and LSU, but still, I mean, whatever. I mean, it's a huge rivalry.
It's a 5.5 point line, and it's I have no idea if. Who knows? I mean, do we think that Garrett Nussmeier was permanently benched?
That's a great question.
Because if so, I mean, that makes that game in Norman at the end of the month like way more interesting. Because I like whatever. I don't know what happened to Garrett Nussmeier. He just must be cooked. I don't know. Him and Jade Knott must be hanging out. I don't know. But yeah, if Michael Van Buren starts.
These guys hanging out.
If
Mekhi Hughes.
Yeah. All those guys are just hanging out. They're all just buds now. If Van Buren starts over Nussmeier and Norman, and that's going to give LSU a much better chance to win. Because Van Buren can run.
Yeah. What about Ole Miss? Ole Miss going to get knocked off by Florida? Florida going to
probably not
ruin Ole Miss's season?
Probably not. I mean, Lagway got benched last week. Is he back? Who knows?
That's right. Man, just a lot of benchings. All right, so I'll go down to the national. It's just it's not a great week, honestly.
Last week wasn't a great week either.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Minnesota and Oregon's kind of just like a fun sounding matchup, but I mean, a huge point spread and probably won't be competitive. Sorry to the Gophers. Oh nope. Let's see. That was the wrong. What am I doing here?
No, you tell me. I can't even see what you're doing.
There we go.
The Gophers, they're not a good team. They're not a good team at all. If you're in a legal betting state, if you can get even you can get an alternate spread of Oregon at minus 30.5 or something, I would take that if you can.
Really? You don't think the Gophers can cover 24?
I do not. I do not. I think that game on Friday night screams 38-0 or 38-3 ish.
I think it's a look ahead spot though. I think USC might be next for Oregon though. Maybe they're looking ahead.
Yeah, but they're also going to get like an extra day of rest. I just think you got Oregon, who just survived on the road last weekend. So that's a really good win for Oregon last week. In the terrible, awful, cold, rainy conditions, you get away with a win. I don't know. I would feel way better about Minnesota kind of surprising Oregon if Oregon just would have gone into Kinnick and just body bagged Iowa. But because it was so close and such like a, I think Oregon's going to respond and Minnesota's just not any good. Like you can't, they can't move the ball.
Okay. No need. We're not going to pick the Pitt Notre Dame game, even though.
Yeah, so why didn't you put that on there? That's that's the college game day game.
Because it was a big number, 11.5, and I was like, it's big. And I just don't think Pitt's any good, but at least it's at Pitt, so it might be kind of interesting. I don't have any thoughts on it. Notre Dame is just imminently boring to me. I put the Virginia-Duke game on here just because Duke's 5.5-point favorite at home, but whatever.
It's a huge game in the ACC race, baby.
Yeah. And then, Memphis, got to keep track of Memphis, that could maybe sneak into the playoff or something. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go to our picks. So it's been a while. We didn't do it. We didn't have a show last week, so we didn't pick last week's game. So this was a couple weeks ago. I was 3-2. You were 2-3. You're still trying to get back to 500. Yeah, there's still time. You can make it.
Having a bad season.
5-0, 4-1 weeks.
I mean, I know that I'm gonna have a good bowl season like I always do, but it's been pretty rough regular season.
Gosh, is this week? What do we got? Week 12?
I think so. Yeah. Oof.
Gosh, week 12 just flies by. It always does. We're just a broken record. But all right, first game. Actually, I need to double check, make sure all these lines are accurate because I put this together probably Monday. And things may have changed. This is kind of where we are. So we always use ESPN's lines because like whatever.
2.5. Louisville 2.5. Still accurate.
All right. So Clemson at Louisville 2.5. And honestly, because no, never mind.
I'll start off here.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I'll take Louisville minus the 2.5. I do not. Clemson's bad. Clemson's not a good team. They're having a bad season. They're having their worst season in, I don't know, like 20 years or so. And Louisville being at home, it's a weird Friday night, 6:30 kick. Louisville's still alive for the college football playoff for the ACC title. I mean, you're essentially, I think with that short of a number, I think a vast majority of the time you're just picking a winner here. And I will take one of the worst programs in the Power Four, the Louisville Cardinals, to beat Clemson.
Still just, how do you feel about when Jeff Brom is OU's next coach?
Don't even joke about that.
I wish this was 3. It used to be 3. It went down. I think it was like 3.5 for a bit, and obviously people jumped on Clemson. Now that it's under 3, I think you're right. You're just kind of picking a winner, and boy, Louisville just coming off a loss. Clemson coming off a win, going on the road. Clemson's actually been pretty good on the road this year. They played bad teams on the road, but they've been pretty good on the road this year. I think they played Georgia Tech on the road, and they only lost by a field goal, but that was early in the season. I think this is Louisville or pass. I agree with you. So I'll go with Louisville. Iowa and USC. That's a fun one. Make sure this is still the same number. Why am I not seeing Iowa USC?
It is still the same number, 6.5.
6.5. Thank you. So this is a game where I'll go first. I'll go USC. Give me USC at home, under a touchdown. I think Iowa's defense is not seeing. USC's offense is just terrific. It is. It's really good. And Northwestern's defense, statistically, going into that game last week was like pretty darn good, like super high. USC had no problem with it. They just threw it around. Although they did get kind of lucky, Maava on that threw that really bad pick, and then the guy fumbled out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, which was very unfortunate for Northwestern. Kind of a dream crusher type game for Iowa last week. Going on the road now, weird going across country to USC. It's under a touchdown. I'll go with the Trojans.
Okay, so my instinct here is actually to take Iowa. I am going to take USC though, but I want to give you the reason my Iowa handicap. It's just so easy for me to envision we talked so much about clock control and game control when we were breaking down the OU Alabama game. Man, is it going to surprise anyone if Iowa goes in to LA on Saturday and runs for 250 yards and is like constantly ahead of the chains?
Yeah, kind of. Like USC's defense is fine. It's not that bad.
That's not good though either. So,
That's like all they have.
My instinct, honestly, would be to sprinkle a little bit on the Iowa money line if I was in a gambling state. And because I'm just trying to turn it around, and I've been so wrong this year, that's why I'm gonna go with USC. And like the fact that you're getting the hook there with the 6.5 makes it way more enticing. But I don't know. I would really, really think about an Iowa money line here, just because I've seen a lot of people say that USC is a terrible matchup for Iowa. Iowa's a terrible matchup for a Lincoln Riley coach team.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, outside of one game in 2017,
USC's defense
Lincoln did pretty well against Iowa State.
USC's defense has not been very good this year.
Well, I guess put it this way. I mean,
they're 42nd
came across
in SP
country.
Plus.
When Michigan came across country, USC kind of dog walked them in their house, and I don't think I was. I mean, I was obviously I was Iowa. They're the same as they always are. They're a good team, but I think USC is kind of making some moves here at the end of the year, man. I kind of think USC might make the playoff. They're kind of moving their way towards it. So
they ain't going in. They're not going into Oregon and they're not going to go into Eugene and beat Oregon.
Oregon's not. I don't know, man. Oregon's not as good as I think we think they are.
I think Oregon's really good. I don't think. I think maybe you think because I think there's truly only two great teams right now in the country, and they're Ohio State and Indiana. And so maybe Oregon, comparatively just doesn't look as great. But I think Oregon is. If you made me rank the teams in college football right now, I'd be pretty comfortable putting Oregon as the third best team in the country, in my opinion.
I would not, man. Okay, well, I wouldn't. I think they're. You look at their schedule, and in hindsight, it's like the Penn State. I mean, Penn State's not very good, and that was a close game. They got beat up by Indiana at home.
Penn State's only been like thoroughly outclassed once this year by Ohio State, and I think Ohio State is again head and shoulders the best team in the country. I don't know. I thought, and we haven't talked about that Indiana game. That was a big boy win for Indiana on Saturday. That was a great win. Penn State has not been a good team this season, but they still got a bunch of NFL dudes on their team.
Yeah, great win. Good job. Those are some insane catches at the end of the game. Just absolutely insane. Next up, game of the week, Texas and Georgia. Next to OU and Bama. Georgia now 5.5, so we're kind of the same. Texas is a 5.5-point dog on the road. OU's a 5.5-point dog on the road. Give me Georgia. I'm not gonna. Texas has a Georgia problem. I mean, it's very recent, but Georgia has kind of figured out Texas and under a touchdown, under 6 now. So I will take the dogs.
Sigh.
I just don't think Texas is that good.
I think Texas goes in and wins.
I think Texas is. I've done the different thing. Like going into the OU Texas game, everyone was saying Texas is not that good. I was like, Texas is definitely a lot better than people think. But now I'm like, I don't think their defense is really as good as everyone says it is, and they're just kind of a team. They're just kind of there, and I don't think Georgia's that great either. So
I don't know. You go into what's been Texas's biggest weakness this season. It's been protecting the quarterback. What is the one thing that Georgia cannot do against anybody? Get after the quarterback. I think Texas goes in and wins, and it's gonna make me vomit when it happens.
Gonna go in and win. How about that? All right, next game up. Put this in there because OU plays Missouri next, and I thought this was kind of an interesting number. Mississippi State at Missouri. Missouri 7.5 at home against Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby. And boy, I took a bath last week because I was pretty confident that Mississippi State would be able to keep it within the number against Georgia at home. And boy, was I wrong about that. So Jeff Lebby is on my not on my nice list right now. But then again, I kind of think I'm going to maybe go back to the well with Lebby here against Missouri because they got embarrassed last week against Georgia. And give me that hook, 7.5. Vegas wants you to take Mississippi State. You better believe it. I'm going to. Give me the Bulldogs.
And I'll be on the opposite side of you. I'll go with Mizzou here. Missouri's defense is still pretty good, despite being pretty exposed. Maybe not the right word last week against Texas A&M, but I thought Texas A&M certainly was able to move the ball pretty easily against Missouri's defense. It's kind of a desperate spot for Missouri. It's at home at night. Mississippi State's defense is not good. Kind of gives Missouri, I think, some room there to separate from them. So I think the tag is the right call there.
Yeah, this is Missouri's final home game of the season. Their last two are on the road. But on the flip side, Mississippi State, they got to have this game or else they ain't going to go bowling because they got Ole Miss in the egg. I mean, they can. Yeah, it's a rivalry game, but they're going to be pretty heavy underdogs to Ole Miss. So could be a situation where Mississippi State's like, man, we got to win this game to make a bowl this year. Lastly, let's go to the Big 12, TCU and BYU. Make sure that this is still the right number. And it is. BYU 4.5 is the number. Out in the Big 12, and it's just kind of an interesting short number Big 12 game. I'll be honest, man. I have watched very little Big 12 football this year. I guess Texas Tech's pretty good. The one time I kind of watched them play, they lost that game against Arizona State. But kind of a Vegas zone type number, as Bill Simmons would say here. Give me TCU. Give me Sonny Dykes going in there plus the points just to keep it close.
And I will also be on the opposite side here. Give me BYU. BYU, I think, more than anything since they've been in the Big 12, teams that they are just like on paper better than, they have beaten. It's the teams that they're not like on paper, they have like some sort of talent disadvantage that they've struggled with. So give me I almost said the Tigers again, but they're the Cougars. Give me the Cougars.
Give me the Cougars.
They'll bounce back. Right. And I think I think BYU is at Cincinnati next week, which is essentially whoever wins that game plays in the Big 12 title game.
Interesting. All right, to recap, Grant and I are both on Louisville, minus the 2.5 against Clemson on Friday night. We are both on USC, laying 6.5 against Iowa at the Coliseum. Then the final three are crossfires. I'll be on Georgia, minus the 5.5. Grant will take the 5.5 with Texas. I'll take Mississippi State, catching 7.5. Grant will take Missouri, laying the 7.5. And then at 9:15 on ESPN, TCU at BYU, I will take TCU plus the 4.5 on the road. Grant will take the Cougars minus the 4.5 there in BYU. All right, well, we both don't think Oklahoma's going to win the game on Saturday. They certainly can win the game. It's more of a historical, evidence based. We've seen what we get out of Brent Venables' teams. And I think you put it pretty nicely. Like the thought of a team coached by him going on the road in consecutive games against a really good team and winning again just kind of seems like kind of unfathomable.
It's kind of a tough thing. It would make you, if they were able to pull it off, it would make you feel like that R. Mason Thomas scoop and score was like transcendently massive and was like kicked off like an impressive run. That's kind of what it would feel like. And that would be awesome. But also I kind of like to keep my expectations in the dumpster these days. It hurts too much.
Well, and also what it could do is a win could also in the Senate could be like, oh no, they're setting themselves up for just a cruel final two games of the season. where they go and they lose to a team they shouldn't lose to. And it's essentially the game version of that John Mateer interception at the end of the game against Tennessee, where you're like, what are you doing?
I mean, it would be what would happen though is it like they do go into Tuscaloosa and win this week. They'll beat Missouri, and then it would be 9-2 win in your in scenario against an extraordinarily wounded LSU team. Fired their coach. Garrett Nussmeier has been benched. It's ABC Saturday night football under the lights in Norman for a chance to win this game, and you're hosting a playoff game in 3 weeks. And then they lose to LSU's backup quarterback. That's what the scenario would be.
If that's in the future, I'd much rather them just lose on Saturday. I do not want to have that be that would, like, a couple days after Thanksgiving, they're all happy, like holidays are right on the corner. Oh, you could be hosting a playoff game and they lose. I mean, that would be could you name a worse home loss in recent memory than that?
Oh, recent memory? No. I was going to say, like, in memory, yeah. I mean, they lost to, like, a 3-win Oklahoma State team in 2001. All they had to do was win out to defend their national title.
Yeah, the worst game I've been at the home game that I've been at that they've lost. I'm trying to think my time recently covering the team. I mean, the Iowa State loss was, like, crappy. It was like, what the heck was that? I mean, that in 2017, and then they righted the ship. That was just a weird one. I don't know if any of the ones recently at home that they lost were just like, oh my God, that was, well, I'm thinking like Lincoln Riley era. My first thought was the Notre Dame game in 2012. Like, that was just that was a horrible game to be at for them to lose.
In retrospect, that wasn't a big, because that was, I mean, and I know Notre Dame just got smoked by Bama in the national, but that was still a Notre Dame team that was undefeated and played in the national title game. That was a really good Notre Dame team. Trying to think, I don't know. That's the only home game they've ever lost that I've been to. Home game, that is.
Yeah.
When I was going through because I was doing my post Tennessee, and I was trying to see what my record was in true road games, as it was 6-0 in true road games. But when I am in attendance at OU games, OU was 24-5. I've only ever seen 5 losses in person. So that's pretty fortunate. That's pretty cool, right?
That's pretty cool. Lastly, and I forgot to add this to my handicap on the OU Bama game. I forgot to mention this. Another reason why I think they're going to lose. You see the story about Kalen DeBoer's black hoodie?
I did not.
Apparently, he has this black hoodie that, as Alabama's coach, when he wears it, and it's like there's a short sleeve version and a long sleeve version. They're 16-0. They haven't lost a game. So I would imagine he's going to wear that hoodie on
But
Saturday.
there was like some sort of story written about it?
Yes.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better about Saturday. The fact that they wrote a story about it means that doesn't matter anymore.
It's by Ross Dellinger. So
because you're talking about, right? I mean, when you're talking about, oh, they're 16-0 when I wear this hoodie, then you're fully into superstition territory, and you have the superstition is you throw that in the trash because somebody acknowledged it and wrote a story about it. So now I'm like, okay, that's good. Big fan of that.
All right. Well, that's a good way to end this show then. Maybe that's a good sign for Oklahoma on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Really excited for this game. Really excited to watch this game. I love that they're in the SEC. I love they're playing important football this late in the year. This is fun. I mean, and I'm happy that the playoff scenario, the situation is the way it is. If they were 7-2 and like they weren't, it was still a 4-teamer, that this would be irrelevant. Like, who cares? Oh, they're going to try to make the Peach Bowl. I don't care. I want them to make the playoff, and so that's why the expanded playoff is better. I heard the one national show I listened to, a couple of people on the show were talking about how, like, honestly, man, do we really need, like, we could probably just the top 4 right now in the playoff rankings, like, that's probably fine, right, with those 4 teams, right? Just they're the 4 best. Why do we even need more? It's like, what do you? it's the same thing as like, what do you want out of college football? Like,
No, with the
you just
4, that's
wanna
a
not
terrible.
see-
If anything, this year you just say Ohio State and Indiana. They should just play a national title game because they've like clearly been the best teams.
And the longer this goes, I mean, whatever, sure. But the longer this goes, the more hopefully people will see, like, even though these conferences love it and they make money, we got to get rid of these stupid conference championship games. They don't need them. They're dumb. Like, we're going to see Indiana, Ohio State, right, in the Big Ten title game. It's like, who cares? Doesn't matter. There's going to be a playoff after that. So, oh, boy. All right. Well, any final thoughts?
Nib high football rules. Hope they win.
All
Hope
right,
they
we'll be
win
back.
this weekend, man. Sorry, I just cut you off, but I hope they win. I'm fired up for this game too. I like what an opportunity ahead of them. Could be just, and that's why it's like try to keep your expectations in the dumpster, because if they surprise and they come out and win, it's just like, man, it'd be just what a great Saturday that would be. That's all I got. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. All right, we'll be back after the game to talk all about OU, Alabama, and everything that happened. So until then, for Grant, I am Lee. This is West of Everest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you want to help us spread the word, please leave us a 5-star review. And also, tell all of your friends who are OU fans about West of Everest. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.